Mortgage rates have been above our 6.5% line in the sand and stuck right around 7% for nearly 8 weeks now. In fact, so far for the last 3 days, we're actually above 7%. How are home buyers responding to these higher rates? Will housing prices ever come down? And what does all of this mean for the Dallas real estate market? My name is Michael. I own a local real estate brokerage here in the Dallas area. And every Monday, I give you a weekly update covering all of Dallas and Collin counties. We're looking for trends, which cities and zip codes are the hottest if you may be looking to sell for top dollar, as well as which cities and zip codes are the coolest if you may be looking for a buy opportunity. We also track mortgage rates as well as mortgage purchase applications, as that's our best leading indicator to what demand is going to look like 30 to 90 days from now. We're looking at things like median list price, days on market, how many homes are having price reductions, what's inventory looking like, and if you stick around until the end, it's my favorite part. I do a top 10 rank list of the hottest both cities and zip codes in both of these counties. If this sounds like something you're into, make sure and hit the subscribe button. And if you're looking to make a move in the Dallas area, whether it's next week or next year, I'd love to connect. I've helped every one of these yellow dots find their little piece of Texas, and I'd love to help you too. Just call, text, or shoot me an email. All that info is in the description below. Okay, today is July 5th. Let's see what the data is telling us. And if this is an old video, click the playlist here, and it'll take you to the most recent market update. First up is market news. Last week, mortgage rates jumped up again, but why? Well, we saw a big move in the 10-year yield, and as we know, mortgage rates follow the 10-year yield. And this happened because once again, jobless claims came in way lower than expected. This week is jobs week once again, and we have 4 labor reports coming out on this short holiday week. All of this data will give us a better look into whether or not the Federal Reserve is accomplishing what it wants with these higher rates, which is a softer labor market. Powell recently reiterated that the labor market is too tight and that a softer labor market is how we're going to get core inflation down to the Fed's desired 2%. The biggest report you'll want to pay attention to this week happens on Friday, and that will be the BLS jobs report. Remember, if the economy remains strong and there are plenty of jobs for people, there's low unemployment, then the Fed has no reason to lower interest rates. In fact, it might even signal to them that it's okay for rates to go higher. Or at the very least, as long as there are plenty of jobs and low unemployment, it signals to them there's no need to drop rates. So what happens in these jobs reports matters a lot. And unfortunately, for interest rates to come down and unemployment is starting to climb. Okay, moving on to interest rates. We started last week at a 6.91 and we ended, of course, adjusted for the holiday weekend. We're at a 7.03. That's where we're starting now. As you can see, this is up 1.53% from this time last year. Now remember, historically this year, interest rates above 6.5% has meant demand is drying up. Below 6.5%, more people are applying for mortgages, prices are going up. But as time goes on, buyers are getting more and more used to these high rates, and we see evidence of this every single week. So what's most surprising this week is that for the 3rd straight week in a row, even with rates up near 7%, we saw an increase in the number of people applying for mortgages this week. I won't have the actual percentage increase number until tomorrow because the data is delayed because of the holiday weekend, but I can confirm that the number will be positive. So that's 3 weeks of more people applying for mortgages than the previous week, even with rates up at 7%. So demand is not slowing down. It's actually increasing week over week. That's pretty incredible. Which means if you're a buyer sitting on the sidelines, please don't. As I say every week, if you can buy a house, then you buy a house. There is no reason to believe that home buying is going to get any easier moving forward. People are still out here applying, still out here buying for mortgages. They're not waiting on the sidelines. And if rates at a 7% is not going to curb demand, what do you think is going to happen when rates get down to 6.5 or even 6%? That demand is going to flood in and you're not going to be able to compete in that market unless you've got a ton of cash. And if you're still on the fence about whether or not it's a good time to buy or not, please watch this video. Okay, let's move on to the housing data. We're starting here with Dallas County, and as you know if you've seen my videos, what I look at is called the Market Action Index. It just takes all of this data here and puts it in a nice, easy graphic with an easy number to read. Like I said, it's been almost 8 weeks. So basically back here, you can see it represented of when rates started to jump. This was kind of the peak and it held steady for a while. We're starting to see a bit of a decline, but not really. I mean, a 54.83 is still a very strong seller's market. And the peak here was 56. Yeah, around a 56 and we're at a 54.83. So almost no drop, even with 8 weeks of being near a 7% interest rate. There's nothing remarkable here. I mean, you can see that the prices have held strong. These are the median list prices. The number of homes having a price decrease went up to 36%, but that's a totally normal number. I mean, the lowest we've been is 32, so 32 to 36%. There's nothing surprising about this at all. The only thing worth looking at here is that inventory continues to climb. It's not at an alarming rate, but it is climbing, and every week we zoom in here and we just show because it looks really dramatic curving up there. If we look at the 7-day average, that's this big dramatic curve. It is finally breaking out of this very tight range, But if we look at the 90-day, it's just starting to curve up, which is the trend. We don't consider a 7-day a trend. But just know that every week this goes up, that's better for you buyers. So we want this number to get way up here, over 5,000, 51, 5,200. So we're still less than half of that, but just know we're headed in the right direction. But remember, if rates drop at all at any point, this number is not going to go up. It's probably going to go back down. Okay, now moving on to Collin County, pretty much the same. It is a little bit softer. You can see Collin County, pretty much the same story. It actually had a little rebound in prices this week in the median list price, and the days on market went down. It's about the same, 35% of homes having price decreases, which is totally normal in any market. Inventory is climbing as well, but again, nothing hugely significant. The market action index is just right back to where it was in April. And this is after 8 weeks of rates being up near 7%. And this is our third straight week of more and more people applying for mortgages. So what this says is the market is still very strong. And if at any point rates come back down below 7%, you can expect that all of this is going to heat right back up. Now we're moving on to my favorite part of the video, the top 10 ranked charts. This is the top 10 hottest, both cities and zip codes. And then we'll do the same for the coolest cities and zip codes. And this is in all of Dallas and all of Collin County. This is out of 84 zip codes in Dallas County and 26 zip codes in Collin County. So to make the top 10 list is a big deal. But starting out this week, Grapevine and Carrollton remain their top 2 spots. Balch Springs heats up one. And look at this thing. It is going straight up. Balch Springs is really heating up. Sachse cools off one after a very surprising run up. It's still very hot. This could turn back up and it could overtake Balch Springs. Louisville heats up one. Duncanville cools off one. Coppell did not even make the list last week and it comes on at number 7 this week. Plano cools off one. Grand Prairie remains. And Irving cools off 2, and Richardson is the one that was at number 10 that is knocked entirely off the list this week. So Richardson gets knocked off, Coppell comes back in a big way all the way to number 7, and Balch Springs looks like it's going parabolic and it might even overtake Carrollton soon. I mean, look, Carrollton's flatlining, Balch Springs is taking off to the moon. Now we're moving on to the hottest zip codes, and this is just for you to see if your zip code is in here, but the absolute hottest in both of these counties is Grapevine, 76051, followed by Plano, 75023, Carrollton 75007, Dallas 75231, Irving 75063, Plano 75075, Balch Springs 75180, Grand Prairie 75052, Sachse 75048, and Garland 75044. So if you made this list, you are one of the top 10 hottest zip codes in all of Dallas and Collin County. So that's a big deal. That means you can get top dollar for your house. Now we're moving on. Same thing. This is the top 10 coolest list. And remember, in order to be a buyer's market, your number has to be 30 or below. So don't let this list fool you. I mean, Leonard is pretty cool at a 34.5. The more concerning part is that it looks like it's still dropping, but 36 looks to be holding firm. 37, White also looks to be dropping. But when you get closer to a 40 and up, that's still firmly a seller's market. So none of these are in a buyer's market. Don't let it fool you just because it's on the coolest list that it's like a dead market. It's not. Okay, so looking at the top 10, the absolute coolest market for the first time this week is Leonard, Texas. It cools off 3 spots, which finally removes Farmersville, which has been the number 1 spot. So Farmersville heats up 1, basically because Leonard dies and is looking to continue dying, it looks like. White cools off another 2 spots, and you can see it had a big peak and it has just been dropping ever since. Ferris heats up 2 spots. Blue Ridge heats up 2 spots. Prosper remains. Seagoville remains. Van Alstyne remains. Nevada comes onto the list at number 8 and removes Sunnyvale entirely off the list. And Royce City remains number 10, which is the hottest city on the top 10 coolest cities list. So the hottest of the coolest cities is Royce City. Now looking at the coolest zip codes, we have Leonard 75452, Dallas 75235, Farmersville 75442, Whitewright 75491, Dallas 75219, Ferris 75125, Blue Ridge 75424, Dallas 75212, Dallas 75209, Dallas 75208. So those are the top 10 coolest. We always just take a look at inventory here to see if we can spot any trends early. This is the weekly chart. This is the monthly. So we want to look at the monthly, and we can definitely see inventory is finally starting to curve up on, this is a 90-day average. McKinney, you see it's curving up quickly. Frisco for sure curving up quickly. Prosper is not. Plano is definitely, and so this is a 90-day, so that's great. If you look at the weekly, look how hard that curve is up. So this is good if you're looking for a house in Plano. Look at these, even Royce City, Rockwall, basically everything is curving up. Mesquite is looking to flatten out. Salina is taking off again, it looks like. And of course, we can see this again on the weekly. Allen has a very hard curve up. Mesquite does not. Garland does. Rockwall's more flattening out. Royce City is going up. Plano is going up. Frisco is going up. McKinney kind of starting to go up. And Dallas as well, a light curve. But either way, any curve up, any sign of inventory growing is going to be good for you buyers. Well, that's it for this week. And once again, if you're looking to buy or sell in the Dallas area, whether it's next week or next year, I'd love to connect. Just call, text, or shoot me an email. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.